Hey there guys, it's Klay here with a new video. Today I will read chapter 4 to 6 of What If Naruto Took Training Seriously. As always, the info about the author of the story is in the description. I will now begin. Chapter 4. When Naruto had heard the term, bandit camp, he had not envisioned what he was seeing currently. The team was perched on a rocky outcrop looking over the forest below them. In it was a large clearing filled to the brim with tents and carts. When he had heard bandit problem, he had thought of maybe a group of 10 to 20. Not the view that greeted him of somewhere between 1 to 200 bandits strolling about. All sorts of weapons floated around between them, from swords to scythes and even axes. If you could think of it, someone down there probably had one. Kakashi-sensei, how exactly do you plan for us to deal with all of this? Naruto quietly broke the silence with his question. I'm sure we could take these guys, but there's a lot of them. I'm ashamed to admit it, but the idiot's right. There really is a lot. Sasuke stared down, scouting and trying to see a plan. Gotta be something between 150 to 200 guys down there. Let's back off for now, kiddies. Kakashi said and began making his way away from the edge. The three genin quickly moved to follow them. Later that day, about an hour before dusk, Kakashi gathered his team around him. Alright, listen up. Making sure he had the attention of all three, he then continued. There's a ravine at the end of the clearing they are camped in. I'm going to use a water-style jutsu, followed by an earth-style jutsu to force them from camp and into the ravine. Kakashi sighed. My jutsu will most likely neutralize a large amount of them, however it won't get everyone. That is why you three will be using the ravine as a kill box. Wait, a kill box? Sakura asked. But these are people, we can't just slaughter them like animals. Kakashi sighed once again and crouched level with the pinkette. I know that it doesn't seem right, but as shinobi, this is what we do, Sakura. On top of it, those men are scum, who have chosen a path of torture and rape. Along with killing and kidnapping people for their own greed. They sell people into slavery. As such, we put them down like rabid dogs. Sakura's eyes widened, unbelieving at his words. Is this really what it means to be a shinobi? The masked Junin looked at her as if trying to find the right words. Sakura, look at your teammates, they have already steeled their resolve and are ready to do this. They understand what they signed up for. I know it feels wrong, but one day all of you will find a way to cope with such acts. This is the life of a shinobi, and if you can't handle it, I won't force you down this path any farther. Sure enough, when Sakura turned around to her teammates, she could see that they had steeled themselves and understood exactly what it meant to be a shinobi. Alright, sensei. I'll do it. I picked this path and I'm not just going to abandon my dreams. The sole female shinobi said, with an air of confidence. He ruffled her hair. That's the spirit. Turning to the boys, he asked, are you guys ready? The two boys shared a glance at one another, and turned their attention back to their sensei. Let's get this done. They replied in unison. Be ready when you see my jutsu go off. Kakashi said. The team began to set up along the ravine. Sakura at the end where the ravine started to turn into open ground once again. Naruto and Sasuke positioned along opposite sides of the pass, spaced to cover more distance. Sakura planted sets of paper bombs all along the ravine so she could set them off as bandits passed, to neutralize them as well as force them to keep going forward. When all was done, Kakashi moved away to the rock outcropping they had used to overwatch the camp just hours before. Carefully making his way down to where he was only above the clearing by about 40 feet, he began to flash through hand seals, water style, exploding water shockwave. A massive wave of water swept through the camp, smashing men into everything around them. When the water began to settle, some men had drowned, but most were injured or heading for the ravine. The Junin sped through another set of hand seals, earth style, mud river. A raging avalanche of mud and earth slid down the slope, effectively washing away the camp and destroying everything in its path, as well as swallowing up any stragglers who hadn't made it to the ravine. In total, only about 80 men made it in. As the first group got the farthest along, a paper bomb went off underneath them. The loud echoing boom resounded through the passage. As more paper bombs went off courtesy of the pinkette, only about 40 bandits were left. However, in a hail of kunai and shuriken from Naruto and Sasuke respectively, that number was cut in half. Unbeknownst to them, 4 men slid past and ran toward Sakura, who threw a handful of shuriken at them, but it only dropped 3, the thrown weapons buried in their heart. The last man having caught one in his shoulder. Sakura froze at seeing the 3 men she had just killed die so close to her. You're dead, girly. The last man said, bringing his sword to bear, poised to strike the girl down like nothing. Suddenly a swath of kunai landed behind him, and as he turned he caught sight of black with a hint of orange before a kunai enclosed in a fist slammed into his skull, which burst with blood covering Naruto's face. He froze momentarily, registering the look of shock and utter fear on the man's face as he killed him, but remembering he had done so to save Sakura, he regained his composure. "Sakura, are you alright?" Naruto yelled at the girl. "Huh? Naruto?" she said, still dazed. "Why, you just saved my life, didn't you?" "Thank you," she said, falling to her knees. "No problem," he said, then turned and called out through the ravine over Sasuke's little kill zone, "Kaka-sensei. Come look after Sakura." And with that, Naruto flew back into the fray with Sasuke. Between the two of them they utterly bodied the rest of the bandits with taijutsu and kunai alone. Kakashi watched as Naruto pierced the skull of the last bandit with a kunai. As the bandit dropped dead, he noticed the look of sadness in his eyes. Sasuke and Naruto then landed next to him, covered in a fairly large amount of blood. "Good work, team. I'm proud of you. You all did well for your first time doing something like this." Kakashi sighed. "Head down the hill about another half-mile and there's a stream. You boys go get cleaned up and I'll take care of Sakura, alright?" "Yes, sir," the boys said together and disappeared from view. "Sakura, I need you to look at me. Can you do that for me?" Kakashi asked the shell-shocked girl. Her thousand-yard stare turned to meet Kakashi's dark gray eyes. She nodded dumbly. "Sakura, you did what you had to do and what was required of a shinobi. On top of that, it was kill or be killed. If you hadn't killed those 3 men, they most definitely would have killed you before Naruto could have possibly got them all." Kakashi sighed. "Harden your heart, for this is something we deal with every day. However, don't forget that it's alright to feel remorse and regret over taking a life. That remorse and that feeling is what keeps us human. If you ever begin to enjoy it, that is when you become a monster. And you're no monster, Sakura. Trust me, I've seen many." Sakura sobbed slightly but took shaky deep breaths and replied, "Thank you, sensei." "Of course. Ski? What, Naruto? How ya doing? Shouldn't you be focused on how you are doing and not on how I'm doing, loser?" Sasuke grumbled. Naruto stared into the river. His reflection in the bloody water staring back at him. "It's easier for me to worry about others than it is to worry about myself." "That's why you're a loser, dipshit." Sasuke sighed, "But I'm fine. Thanks, loser. Hey, what can I say? I've never had friends, so that's why every new friend I make matters so much to me. You were my first friend, you are my best friend, and you're almost closer to family to me than even old man Hokage," Naruto said. He didn't exactly know why he was actually admitting this, but he figured it was just the shell shock he was still experiencing. Upon Naruto finishing his statement, Sasuke's eyes widened to gigantic proportions, and his gaze turned to the golden-haired shinobi. In the back of Sasuke's mind rang the words of his brother on that night long ago. "There is no value in killing the likes of you, my foolish brother. If you want to kill me, curse me, hate me, and live a long and unsightly life. Run away, and cling to your pitiful life. And then someday, when you have the same eyes as I do, come before me." Sasuke stared wide-eyed still at Naruto. This boy who had forced his way into Sasuke's life was more of a brother to him than even Itachi had been in their childhood. Could it be that the path I'm on is not the correct one? Is hatred truly the answer, or has Naruto been right from the start? Sasuke thought to himself. "Yeah," he grunted out in reply to Naruto. Naruto turned to Sasuke and threw a rock at him. "Get clean, bitch boy," he said, laughing as he walked off. Sasuke grunted and stood up. "Fuck you, Uzumaki." The team was now back in Niba village, standing before the village elder. "Our mission is complete, sir. The bandits are taken care of." "Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have you Konoha ninja around. I bid you safe travels home." "Thank you, sir," Kakashi said as he bowed. He and his team then began their journey home. "So, my cute little genin. Other than the obvious bad part, how was your first excursion outside of the village? It's really neat to see new places like this, Kakashi-sensei. Will we be taking more missions like this in the future?" Naruto asked with an almost excited tone. "I rather enjoyed the views myself as well," Sakura said, "but I'm glad to be going home." Sasuke grunted. "It was alright, but not anything special. PFFT, you're always such a downer, ski, at least be slightly enthusiastic," Naruto said, crossing his arms. Oh please loser. You have enough enthusiasm to make up for the entire team. The raven-haired boy replied. Glad to see you all having fun. The sensei of Team 7 remarked. Unfortunately he and Sakura would have to listen to the boys bicker the entire way home. Kakashi and his team stood before the aging Hokage. Team 7 reporting from first C-ranked mission sir. I'm happy to report that the mission was a complete success and these genin handled themselves quite well. Ah yes, good to have you back Kakashi. The old shinobi replied packing and igniting his pipe. That's 1 C rank added to your official record. Well done. If that is all Kakashi, would you mind staying behind a moment? Of course sir. Kakashi turned to his students. You 3 should go get some ramen or barbecue and all will meet you there after I'm done here. He finished with an eye smile. Sounds good, later sensei. And the 3 were off. So Kakashi, how did they handle the first time kills? It really broke Sakura down quite a bit, Kakashi said sadly, however she is back to her normal self. I believe Naruto and Sasuke dealt with it by talking amongst each other. I'm really not all that worried about those 2. They will make fine careers as shinobi. Kakashi finished with a smile. Aye that they will. The Hokage said, exhaling a plume of smoke. And how exactly is Naruto coming along in his training? Well Lord Third, he finished his water walking training while I trained the other 2 in tree climbing. So that's out of the way. Mentally as a shinobi when we get into battle his head is clear. He's calm and collected, he's almost like Minato-sensei if I'm to be honest sir. He still hasn't seemed to make contact with, nor use the power of the 9-tailed fox. Kakashi recounted his progress with Team 7, deciding they needed to be a lot stronger before they went running into the next mission. Good, I'm glad to hear the boy is making progress. The professor then snuffed out his pipe and put it away. Well I suppose that will be all then Kakas. Actually Lord Third, there was something I wanted to ask you. The Junin interrupted tone completely serious. Oh? Please do, ask away. The god of shinobi said with a raised brow. It's well known that elemental jutsu training is mostly reserved for Chunin and above. However I believe the potential in this team is extremely high. I would like your permission to begin teaching them fairly high-level techniques and test their elemental affinities. Also sir, I would like to train Naruto in the 4th hummingbird fist taijutsu. Kakashi said, voice in full business mode. I suppose it can't hurt to properly start our most promising team off with some new jutsus. Alright, I approve your request. Along with your request to train Naruto in Minato style. However, not a word is to be spoken about who he really is to Naruto. Is that understood Hatake? The 3rd Hokage said in a tone that promised severe punishment for any disobedience of his order. Yes sir Lord 3rd, the former Anbu said. I'll take my leave then. The 3 genin sat eating and bickering at Ichiraku ramen. Naruto suddenly spun around in his seat and smiled. Hiya sensei. What's up? He said to the empty street, caused Sakura, Tuchi, and Ayame to all adopt a confused expression. However, just as Sakura was about to ask what he was talking about, Kakashi appeared right before the blonde boy. Yo Naruto. He laughed. Sakura was visibly stunned. Wah. How? Wah, she muttered out. Sakura you dolt, Naruto is a censor type. How have you not picked up on that? Sasuke quipped. Wow. I guess I never did really notice, sorry Naruto. The girl said. Hey it's fine Sakura. Naruto stated. Now, you kids gotta come with me. There's training to be done. Kakashi said, I suppose I can pay just this once. He leaned over and paid for their meals. Turning around he bid the father-daughter duo goodbye. Later Tuchi, Ayame, we'll have to catch up sometime. Of course Kakashi, stop by anytime. Tuchi called out to the team's backs as they made their way from the shop. The team followed their sensei to training ground 7. Here, they gathered around the 3 wooden posts. Alright, listen closely as I don't want to repeat myself. The Junin started with an authoritative tone. We're going to test your elemental affinities today. Wait, really? No way, this will be awesome. Naruto said enthusiastically. Pipe down Naruto, I'm not done. Kakashi said with a stern look. Now as I was saying, I'm going to test your affinities, after which I intend to give you all a jutsu to learn before our next mission that we will be taking at the end of next week. I want all of you to try to have them mastered by then, or at least be proficient with the jutsu. Understood? Yes sensei. The 3 called back to him. Alright then let's get this started. Hatake opened a pouch on his vest and produced 3 pieces of chakra paper. Take these in your dominant hand and then slowly push your chakra into them. He then handed the papers out. If your affinity is fire, it will burn, water it will turn soggy, wind it will split, lightning it will crinkle, and earth it will crumble. Go ahead and start, he ordered to his team. He thought to himself, let's see what we're working with. Sakura went first, pushing her chakra into the paper, and it crumbled in her hand. Earth, it's not rare but it is a strong element. Especially good for defensive jutsu. The masked man commented. Sasuke took his turn and followed after Sakura, his paper crinkling before setting alight. Fire and lightning, not bad. I'm also a lightning type. He smiled at the Uchiha boy. Naruto finished for the group by pushing his chakra into the paper, causing it to split in half before turning soggy and dissolving into water. Wind and water. Wind is very rare in the land of fire, as I know of only 2 shinobi in Konoha have natural wind affinities. One of whom being Sarutobi Asuma. And water to boot, also a good element. I'm surprised to see 2 of my students have dual affinities. Kakashi then put his hands into the clone seal, shadow clone jutsu. 2 identical Kakashis appeared next to him. Any one of you who can get their jutsu down before the weekend is over, I will teach a second jutsu to you. He then had Sasuke and Sakura head off with one of his clones each. Kakashi stared at Naruto before smiling at him. Ready? He asked. Of course, sensei. The boy responded, ready to learn. Alright Naruto, now, just so you know, high-level techniques require additional chakra control training as well as elemental control training. So don't go off trying to learn any high-level wind or water techniques without having me there to help, alright? Kakashi's clones were also giving the same talk to his other 2 students. Yes sir. The boy was practically bouncing up and down at this point. Because of this, the Junin gave him a rather stern look, and the boy immediately composed himself and quieted. Now the jutsu I'm going to teach you is called Wind Style, Great Breakthrough. Watch my hands, alright? Kakashi then began to move through the seals for the technique, aiming for the middle of the clearing. Tiger, ox, dog, rabbit, snake, wind style, great breakthrough. He yelled, and a massive gust of wind burst through the clearing, ripping the leaves off of many trees. You get that? Yep, Kaka-sensei. Can I try now? He asked impatiently. Yes, but let me walk you through it, alright? After you run through the hand seals, you'll gather wind chakra to your lungs and blow out a stream of air. Go ahead and try now. The instructor was curious as to how exactly this was going to go. Naruto burst into action, sliding through hand seals and releasing the jutsu, Wind Style, Great Breakthrough. He yelled and watched in pure disbelief as his first wind jutsu ripped a single leaf off of a tree. He face planted in shame. Get up Naruto. That's to be expected on your first try. Again. Kakashi ordered. Yes sir. The boy grumbled, flashing through hand seals and repeating the process, however still only tearing a single leaf from a tree. When mastered and filled with chakra, this jutsu can go from C to a rank in no time. You have the potential for that. Kakashi advised. Again. Once again wind ripped through the trees. Again. This time 2 leaves left the tree. Again. The same result. Again. This continued until dark, at which point Naruto was able to ruffle the entire tree and shake it as well as taking some leaves off of it. Unfortunately, he still did not have mastery over the jutsu. We'll meet here tomorrow morning. Be on time. It was early morning when Sakura and Sasuke entered the clearing to find Naruto and Kakashi standing at the far side. Again, Kakashi's voice floated across the field, followed by a gust of wind that ripped a branch off the tree. Ha! Look, I did it, you know. Naruto's hands clapped over his mouth at letting out his verbal tick. Sometimes you really are just like Kushina, Naruto. Kakashi said with an smile. Thank you, Kaka-sensei. Naruto then noticed the rest of Team 7 standing there. Oh hey guys. What's up? Hello Naruto. Responded Sakura. Loser. Sasuke grunted out. What jutsu are you learning? He asked, wondering. Wind Style. Great Breakthrough. Naruto smiled. How about you guys? The Pinkette spoke first. Earth Style, Hidden Mole Jutsu. Sasuke followed up with Fire Style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Nay Sasuke? Think we could combine our jutsu for a combination? Naruto asked. I don't see why it wouldn't work. The Uchiha replied. Thinking ahead, aren't we? Your chakra natures are a perfect match, not only to go against each other in spars, but also to work together in unison for a better effect. Kakashi interdicted. You all have great potential. He chuckled then continued. Alright, Sakura, head off with the clone. Naruto, my other clone, will stay here and oversee your progress. Sasuke, come with me. The clearing was once again filled with the repetition of again, followed by a gust of wind. It would continue until dusk. Naruto, with this much chakra you're capable of being an artillery battery of jutsu. I'm going to expand your ninjutsu arsenal as much as I can. Kakashi's eyes smiled at the boy. Now one more time. Again. Naruto inhaled and then released his jutsu only to watch as it ripped the tree in the center of the clearing right out of the ground. Kakashi's eye widened. Naruto, how exactly did you pull that off? Naruto rubbed the back of his neck. Well, you see, sensei, I kinda got frustrated and poured a bunch of chakra into it. Again. Huh? Do it again, Naruto. We need to see if you can replicate that. Yes, sir, he said, speeding through hand seals and inhaling heavily. He poured chakra into his lungs and released his jutsu. Wind style. Great breakthrough. The wind tore through the clearing and tossed the downed tree another 20 yards across the clearing. Well done, Naruto, I truly am impressed. I'm going to dispel now to let the original know what happened. The clone burst into smoke. Over the next 3 days, Sasuke would master his jutsu as well, meaning that the boys would get a second jutsu to work on. Sakura had not, but Kakashi knew she was getting close. He also had her firing on all cylinders. He worked her half to death every day to try to build up her chakra reserves. Kakashi would teach Naruto and Sasuke their new jutsu over the next week, as well as helping Sakura perfect hers. He also began having her learn medical ninjutsu. For Naruto, he taught him the water style, water clone jutsu. He felt that with Naruto's reserves it would be a great asset. He didn't want to try with the shadow clone yet, as he would need to convince the Hokage that it was a good idea. In the long run, the multi-shadow clone jutsu could turn out to be one of the most deadly in Naruto's arsenal. He had taught the self-proclaimed Avenger a lightning jutsu. Lightning style. Lightning bolt. A C-rank jutsu that was essentially the lightning version of the water style, water pistol jutsu. Sasuke has picked up the lightning jutsu much faster than Kakashi was expecting, and he was proud of his team. It was time to get their next C rank, so they made their way to the Hokage Tower. Chapter 4. End. Chapter 5. Start. Kakashi and his team were currently making their way down a road. Client in tow, they were en route to the Land of Waves. Tazuna the bridge builder had requested a C-rank escort mission to his home country. Located south of the Land of Fire, the Land of Waves needed Tazuna to complete his bridge to increase trade opportunities. Naruto was walking alongside Sasuke at the front of the group, when he noticed a puddle. It hadn't rained in weeks. Oh come on, that's just fucking sloppy. Who does that? Naruto thought. Clearing his throat, he said to Sasuke, "You're a fucking scrub, you know that, right? You couldn't even use my water jutsu properly when you tried." Sasuke got the message loud and clear, having noticed the puddle himself. "Fuck you, Uzumaki." The puddle came to life, as two nin burst from it, wrapping Kakashi in their chain, and then splitting him in half. "One down," the nin said in unison. A lightning bolt courtesy of Sasuke's lightning pistol jutsu hit home on their chain, shocking both of the nin and forcing them to detach from each other. Sakura sped through hand seals and called out, "Earth style, hidden mole jutsu." Dragging herself and Tazuna underground and out of the way, the two nin engaged in combat with Naruto and Sasuke. Locking kunai with Naruto, one of the nin growled. Naruto responded in kind with the addition of, "What kind of idiot scrub are you? That was the worst plan I've ever seen." The nin growled again and launched back away from the golden-haired boy. The Jinchuriki threw a hail of kunai at the nin, who batted some out of the way with his gauntlet, and dodged the last four. Only for the kunai that was closest to him directly behind his back to suddenly become Naruto, who kicked the nin into the air. Sasuke, on the other hand, got caught up in hand-to-hand with the second nin. The nin, whose experience was giving him the upper hand, got overconfident and left an opening that the Uchiha gladly exploited, kicking him hard enough to crack his ribs. Sasuke shot away from the nin and flew through hand seals, fire style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Spitting a volley of small fireballs at his opponent, it was enough to light the man's cloak on fire. Throwing his cloak from his body, he prepared to re-engage with the Uchiha when he saw his brother fall from the sky. "Uzumaki hammer!" Naruto yelled after punching the man hard enough in the face to break his nose. The man landed face up on the ground only to meet a kunai through the heart as the blonde substituted with one of his kunai still on the ground. Naruto looked at the dead nin and immediately shifted his attention to Sasuke. Maizu, you fuck. I'm gonna kill you. The nin was enraged. A voice came from behind as the ring of a kunai handle impacted the back of his skull, knocking him out. You let your guard down, came Sasuke's disappointed tone. Wow. Well done kiddies. You can come up now Sakura. Kakashi called out to his genin. Sakura bust from the ground, Tazuna in tow. The old bridge builder looked at the Junin and said, wait a minute. Didn't you just die? I used a substitution. I am a Junin after all. But most importantly I had to see if they were after me for my bounty. Or after you. Start talking Tazuna. Right now. Kakashi's tone hardened into a firm command. Right, yes, I'm sorry. He dropped to his hands and knees. Our village is too poor to pay for anything above AC rank mission. It took everything we had to scrounge up that much money. In that case you should have explained your situation to our Hokage. He would have gladly made a deal with your country. Now why are there missing nin after you? Kakashi said to the old drunk. The man sobbed and said, the truth is there's a super dangerous man after me. You may have heard of him, his name is Gato. Gato? Kakashi asked slightly surprised, as in the shipping magnate? What could he possibly want with you? He took over the land of waves with his company, he effectively ruined the economy. And we're bankrupt. Building my bridge would kickstart the economy again and his company wouldn't be able to keep hold of us anymore. He sobbed loudly, please you have to help me. Standard procedure states that we return to the village at once. The Junin said. This mission is no longer AC rank and by that right your contract is null and void. Ah I see, the bridge builder replied. I guess Gato's thugs will just kill me and my super cute daughter and grandson will cry for weeks, and my super cute grandson will grow up hating Konoha forever. He sobbed out. The whole team shared one thought, this is a grown man? But still all looked at each other. Kakashi turned to his genin and asked, this is no longer a mission you have to do. Any of you can turn around and go back to the village. This mission could very well be your last. I can't order you to go, so what's it gonna be? Say sensei, as Konoha shinobi, don't we take it upon ourselves to help anyone in need, even more so than the other great villages? So to hold up our values and the will of fire, I'm going to go save that village. With or without you sir. Naruto voiced his reply. Sasuke grunted. I have to make sure this idiot doesn't die or get all the credit. If they're in, then I'm in too sensei. We're a team, Sakura said with enthusiasm. Alright then so be it, let's move out. The former Anbu said. Right, thank you Ken. I know you stuck your neck out for me this time. The old bridge builder said to the fisherman as the team dismounted the boat. Yeah no problem, just get that bridge built. With that the fisherman floated away. Alrighty, it's not too long of a walk to the main village. I'll lead you there. Tazuna said with a bit more enthusiasm than he had shown the whole way here. As they walked along Naruto immediately sensed the large chakra signature. Responding in kind Naruto took Tazuna and Sakura to the ground a full 8 seconds before Kakashi even yelled, get down. A massive sword flew through the air above them where their heads had been. The sword embedded itself into a tree and a man appeared on top of it. With bandages covering his face, his carved Kiri forehead protector sideways upon his head, and brandishing camouflage pants, Momochi Zabuza stood before Team 7. He then proceeded to give them a taste of real killing intent. Kakashi spoke first. Momochi Zabuza, a ranked missing nin from Kirigakure. Also known as the Demon of Kirigakure. Uncovering his left eye, revealing his Sharingan, Kakashi continued. I'll need this to deal with you. Hataki Kakashi, or Kakashi of the Sharingan. I'm honored, Zabuza said. You three, stay back and protect Tazuna with your lives. Stay out of this fight. The legendary Junin ordered. It's useless to have them protect him. Zabuza said, channeling all of his killing intent at the three genin. Sasuke began to lift his kunai toward his throat. It's over, I'm done for. I might as well just get it over with. Sasuke thought under the immense pressure of Zabuza's killing intent. Sasuke, stop. I'll protect you all with my life. I won't let my comrades die. Kakashi said reassuringly. Hidden mist jutsu. Zabuza yelled. Zabuza suddenly appeared inside the circle of genin, aiming to cleave their heads off along with Tazuna's with a single swing. Just as the genin thought it was all over, Kakashi's hand ran through the mont's chest, kunai firmly in his grip. Zabuza's body turned into a pool of water, Zabuza appearing behind the copy nin and cleaving him in half only for him to turn to water himself. Kakashi appeared behind the missing nin. It's over, Momochi. Before Kakashi could strike, a second missed nin appeared behind him, throwing him into the nearby lake. As the copy nin came to the surface, he was trapped in the swordsman's water prison jutsu. Naruto, take our team and run. This fight was over the minute I got caught. His water clones can't go far from his body, so run. Kakashi yelled at the genin, then thought to himself, looks like I've failed once again, sensei. 3 of Zabuza's water clones made their way towards the genin. PFFFT. As if. A ninja who abandons his comrades is worse than scum. And I'm most definitely not scum. I won't run. Not now. Not ever. Naruto shouted. Sasuke. Combo 5 Formation B. Got it. The Uchiha yelled in retort. Just what the hell are they doing? Thought the copycat nin. Secretly under Kakashi's nose, the two boys had been meeting for 3 hours at midnight to practice combat plans, have spars, and try to perfect their first collaboration jutsu. Naruto and Sasuke dashed to opposite sides of the clearing as 12 perfect copies of Naruto ran at Zabuza from where he and Sasuke had been standing. This brat's gonna try to use Academy clones on me. What an idiot. The bandaged man laughed aloud, but his eyes widened upon watching one of the clones pull a kunai out and wreck one of his water clones. The other 2 of the missed nin's clones quickly neutralized the Naruto clones. Zabuza's eyes widened again when he saw they were water clones. Sasuke burst from the trees on the right side of the clearing, running at the missing nin kunai drawn. No, Sasuke. Keep your distance. Kakashi yelled. But it was too late, and the missing nin clone cleaved Sasuke in half only for him to revert to a Naruto clone that then dissolved into water. Kakashi's eyes widened as they had many times before. What absolute brilliance. Naruto is a wonderful strategist. At the same moment, the clone was split in half. Naruto and Sasuke burst from the tree line on the left, flying through hand seals in unison. They then both fired off said jutsu. They called out in perfect sync as they had done hundreds of times before. Wind style. Great breakthrough. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. The wind boosted the fireball's speed and doubled its size as the jutsu barreled toward the 2 water clones, which were instantly evaporated from the immense heat. Suddenly a Fuma shuriken burst from the fireball straight at the real Zabuza's head. He caught the offending object and was about to taunt the boys when he saw a second shuriken that had been hidden in the first shuriken's shadow. Zabuza promptly jumped over the secondary. Not bad for rookies. But still not enough. At that moment, the shuriken behind him turned into Naruto, who tossed a kunai at the mon's head. The missing nin moved his head quickly to the side and watched the knife move past him, only for it to suddenly become Naruto's sandal courtesy of the boy's kunai substitution, and Zabuza subsequently ate Shu and was forced to release Kakashi. The copy nin immediately threw Naruto away from the 2 nin and back to shore. Excellent work, boys. I'll take it from here. Kakashi called to his genin. Copying and flashing through hand seals, Kakashi and Zabuza both let off a jutsu. Water style. Water dragon jutsu. Water style. Water dragon jutsu. The 2 jutsu collided and cancelled each other out. The 2 high-level ninja would duke it out for another 10 minutes before finally both launched back and began to speed through hand seals once again. This time Kakashi was faster thanks to a Sharingan genjutsu he had placed on Zabuza to make his movements more sluggish. Zabuza gasped, "Can you see the future?" "Yes," said the copy ninja, "and your future is death." He let loose his jutsu, water style, water dragon jutsu, which smashed into Zabuza with extreme force. Kakashi made his way to the mist nin's broken and beaten body, preparing a kunai to finish the job when a Kirigakure hunter nin appeared as several Seban impaled Zabuza's neck. "Thank you. I've been tracking him for some time now." Kakashi eyed the hunter nin. "I want to make sure he's dead if that's alright?" "By all means, copy nin Kakashi," the hunter replied. The battered Junin leaned down and felt for Zabuza's pulse. Finding none, and completely exhausted, Kakashi let the nin take off with the body before turning to his genin. "You all did well, I'm very PR." Kakashi passed out, and in a quick burst of speed Naruto caught his teacher. "Old man Tazuna, take us to your home," Naruto ordered. Startled, Tazuna reined himself in and quickly replied, "Oh right. Yes. Right away, follow me. As the group made their way to the bridge builder's house, Naruto spoke up. Hey Ski, what is it, loser? Thanks for the help. I definitely couldn't have done that alone. Sasuke's only reply was to stare into the sky with a blank look on his face. Between revenge and acceptance and camaraderie amongst his friends, which should he really want the most? These thoughts would plague him for the rest of the day. And then me and that duck butt over there launched a collaboration jutsu we'd been working on, and totally fried those water clones. Naruto said enthusiastically. You can't fry water, you dipshit. Sasuke remarked. Sasuke, there's a child in this house. Watch your damn mouth. Sakura shouted at the boy. Naruto and Sasuke sat and stared wide-eyed at the pinkette. Faces contorted in disbelief. The girl blushed and sat down. Just because I like you doesn't mean I have to go easy on you, Uchiha Sasuke. You're almost as bad as Naruto sometimes. At that moment, Naruto burst into laughter. Sakura soon followed and Sasuke even began to chuckle lightly. And this was the scene that greeted Hatake Kakashi as he entered the dining room of the house. Well, I'm glad to see you all have been enjoying yourselves. Thank you for the hospitality, Mr. Tazuna, and you as well. Kakashi trailed off, staring at the woman, inclining her to give him her name. Oh, pardon me, I'm Tsunami. Nice to meet you, Mr. Hatake Kakashi, it's a pleasure. Sensei? Naruto cut in. Should you really be up and about already? Yes, I'll be fine, Naruto, but thank you for your concern. Kakashi reassured the boy. Now I want you all to know that I'm fairly certain Zabuza is still alive. And I'd say we've got about a week to prepare for him to come back. We were thinking that might be the case actually, we all felt something was off with that hunter nin. Sasuke said. Well, good, I'm glad to see you three are learning to pick up on these kinds of things. Kakashi eyes smiled at his team. Inari. Tazuna yelled, come down here. Footsteps were heard and a small boy came down the stairs into the dining room. What? Inari, say hello to the wonderful ninja who protected your grandpa. Tsunami said. Sup kid. Don't worry, we're gonna save your country, no problem. Naruto said, giving a reassuring grin and a thumbs up. Whatever. The boy muttered, you're all gonna die anyway, nobody beats Gato. Naruto shot up, standing at the table. Excuse me? He almost growled. What are you just giving up, scaredy cat? You're all gonna die anyway. Why do you even try? There's no such thing as heroes. The young boy shouted. Bullshit. Naruto yelled, I'm gonna save this place and show you you're wrong. You wouldn't understand. What could you ninja possibly know about this kind of suffering? Inari yelled back, crying. Naruto began to leak killing intent, shaking slightly. He said, wouldn't understand, huh? Yeah, fuck me. What would I know, right? You know what? Fuck you, kid. You're just a crybaby bitch who can't get over himself. I know more about suffering than almost anyone on this planet. Naruto walked to the door, opened it and said, I'm leaving. I'll be back later. The door closed softly behind him. Inari burst into tears and ran up the stairs. The whole room was silent. I apologize for my student's behavior, he's had an extremely hard life. It's okay, Mr. Hatake. He's needed to hear that for a while now. I just couldn't bring myself to be the one to say it. Tazuna reassured the legendary Konoha nin. Sasuke stood. I'm gonna go for a walk. Maybe do some training. I'll be back by tomorrow. With that, Sasuke left the house. Sasuke strolled through the forest in the direction Naruto had gone. Not that he was worried or anything, he was just going to see if the blonde wanted to get beat up in a spar. Sasuke wandered around for quite a while and it was almost dusk when he felt the faint sense of his friend's chakra. It was hard not to sense Naruto's chakra sometimes, the damn loser had so much of it. Sasuke made it to the edge of the small clearing and instantly drew a kunai and burst forward to the downed form of his friend. Putting himself in between Naruto and the person who had been standing over him. The Uchiha stared at the individual that stood only a few feet away from him. Who are you? Sasuke said. Oh, my name is Haku. I'm a local. I was out gathering herbs for my ill father. I heard a lot of noise this way and came to take a look. I watched him train for a while. The girl now identified as Haku said. In that moment, Sasuke had the faint thought that this girl was absolutely gorgeous. Almost as beautiful as his own mother. The raven-haired boy grunted. Seems he knew you were here then. Oh, he did? Haku asked, curious. Yeah, my stupid teammate is a sensor type. Fucker can feel out chakra like it's his own hand. Sasuke said, slightly jealous. He sighed, sitting down next to Naruto. Do you have someone precious to you? Haku asked. Do I? He stopped self. Was he an avenger that wanted to be all alone and kill Itachi? Or was he a teammate, comrade, and friend to those around him? He quickly thought of Sakura, Kakashi, and Naruto. The only family he had now. You know what? Yeah, I do. He sighed. Why was he telling this girl all of this? Good, then you must be very strong. The girl replied. Why do you say that? It was the conflicted Avenger's turn to be curious. Because, when you have precious people and precious bonds to protect, that is when you are truly strong. The girl smiled. Strength comes from the bonds we form around us. Our precious people are the ones we fight so hard to protect. Sometimes they die, and we can't stop it, but that's what drives us to get even stronger so we can protect the ones we have left. Sasuke couldn't help but think not only was her voice and face so beautiful but her spirit was as well. He smiled back at her. You know, you're probably right. Thank you, Miss Haku. Sasuke replied. Haku stood. I have to go now, but you're welcome. I hope we meet again one day in the future. Oh, and by the way, I'm a boy. The young woman said, smiling. For the first time in his entire life, Sasuke snorted. He laughed loudly. Yeah, bullshit. I call your bluff, woman. Oh, it seems you've caught me. The village girl smiled at him. Goodbye, until we meet again, Uchiha Sasuke. It would only be a full week later that Sasuke would realize he had never given her his name. Fuck. Naruto shouted. I slept in again. He growled lightly. He ran down the stairs and found Tsunami. My team leave already? Indeed they did, Naruto. I'm sorry, I should have woken you. She replied, no, it's fine, ma'am, thank you. He said, running to the door. Later, he called behind him. He was halfway to the bridge when he felt it. 6 small chakra signatures headed right for the house. Naruto quickly doubled back on his trail, intent on stopping whatever was about to happen. He arrived just in time to watch a bandit kick the door in and drag Tsunami out of the building. He quickly flashed through hand seals, creating 5 water clones to deal with the 5 bandits guarding the perimeter. As his clone snuck up, so did he. He was in kunai range now. He watched as Inari came running out of the house in full charge, brandishing a knife. Hey, I'll kill you, brat. Don't hurt my mother. Inari. No. As a sword swing came down toward the boy, a kunai impacted at the man's feet and then was gone. And somehow the man had a fist brandishing a kunai embedded halfway in his chest underneath his ribs. Naruto twisted the small blade, and the man promptly died. All the while Naruto's 5 water clones simultaneously killed the other 5 men. Good job, Inari, he said, looking down at the boy and ruffling his hair with his blood-soaked hand. That's how a true hero acts. Thank you for saving us, Naruto. Thank you so much, Mr. Uzumaki. Tsunami cried out. Hey, no problem. But I gotta get going here, my team's waiting for me. You should barricade yourself in the house and wait. And with that the boy took off into the trees once again. Meanwhile, on the bridge, Sasuke was getting his ass beat. And it was pissing him off. Like a lot. Damn it. Am I really this outclassed? The fake hunter Nin had encased the last Uchiha in a dome of ice mirrors, and was proceeding to rip him apart with Seban. The Uchiha really did think it might be over for him. Suddenly a loud explosion ripped apart one of the mirrors courtesy of Naruto, who used the opportunity to catch the fake Nin across the face with his foot. Sasuke. Don't tell me you've been losing to this asshole. Shut up, you idiot. Now we're both stuck in here, he said as the destroyed mirror reformed. Well, at least I don't have to fight alone now, the Raven thought. The fight proceeded and Sasuke found out that Naruto was, after all, faster than he was. It bothered him slightly, but at least they had a chance. Enough. It's time to end this, yelled the enemy shinobi. And suddenly there was an absolutely huge blanket of Seban coming straight for them. Sasuke knew he couldn't dodge. He was gonna die here. Sasuke suddenly found himself thrown against the ground, with Naruto standing over him, body covered in Seban, looking at him with almost lifeless eyes. Ski, you gotta live, Naruto said through gritted teeth. And with that the unknown son of the 4th Hokage fell and died. Naruto. Hey, idiot, get up. Sasuke crawled toward him. Why, loser? Why would you save me? You're supposed to be Hokage one day. Sasuke was racked with 2 emotions, guilt and anger. His eyes flashed red, a fully mature 3-tomo Sharingan appearing in place of his black eyes. Was he precious to you? The Nin asked. He obviously cared for you. The Nin sighed. Sorry it had to end this way. Shut up. I'm gonna kill you. Sasuke was on the Nin in seconds, eyes working double time and reading every move the nin made before he could make them. Sasuke slammed hit after hit into the nin. Kicking the nin into the air, Sasuke did as he had seen Naruto do with the demon brothers. He slammed his fist into the fake hunter nin's face, breaking her mask and sending her crashing to the ground face up. Sasuke came down kunai poised to cut open the nin's heart. As soon as his feet touched the ground, he stopped stone cold. Haku? What the fuck? What are you doing here? He screamed at the downed girl. It was you. Why was it you who killed my friend? I am a tool for Zabuza. As all shinobi are. In the same way you are all tools to your village and Hokage, I am a tool to Zabuza. I will serve him faithfully, for my dream is to see him achieve his dream. Haku grunted out. A tool. Sasuke yelled. No, we're people. The loser was to be Hokage one day. You, Uchiha Sasuke, are at your strongest at this moment, as you are protecting someone precious to you. Haku sighed. I am a broken tool, and am no longer able to protect my precious people. So please kill me, Uchi. A blast of chakra flew across the bridge, freezing everyone in place. They felt one emotion over all others, fear. Fear at the overwhelming feeling of killing intent and hatred as Naruto's body seemingly rose from the dead. Chapter 5. End. Chapter 6. Start. Shit. Did the seal break? The panicked thoughts rushed through Kakashi's mind. Hataki. What the fuck is that? Zabuza asked as the two nin locked blades once again. The former missed Junin disengaged and leapt back, sweeping his blade in front of him and catching Kakashi lightly across the chest. At that moment a black and red mass shot across the bridge and took Zabuza off his feet. The man's back impacted one of the bridge's supports hard enough to cause cracks to spiderweb out from the point of impact. Zabuza coughed up blood. What the fuck just hit me? He thought. When he opened his eyes, what he saw terrified him. When he took this mission, he never would have thought he would face Konohagakure's Jinchuriki. He remembers what kind of terrors occurred during the battle with Yagura, and he was only the Jinchuriki of the Three Tails. And if this kid was Konohagakure's, then that could only mean one thing. It's the fucking Nine Tails. Shit. Zabuza half thought and half mumbled under his breath. Naruto was pressing Kakashi hard. Well, not really Naruto, but the demon in control of his body. He was barely dodging hits. Naruto. The copy nin yelled at his blonde student. You've got to rein yourself in. Fight it. Kakashi-sensei. What's happening? Sasuke yelled. His eyes were wide, Sharingan following Naruto's moves. What even was this power? Sasuke, stay out of this. If you don't, you'll die. The Junin replied, desperation in his voice. Naruto. Kushina, your very mother was also the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. She could keep it under control, and I'm more than sure you can as well, Naruto. The desperate Junin yelled at the red-eyed Jinchuriki. But he finally slipped up. Kakashi lost his footing and knew this was the end. He could only hope the boy would regain control before killing his teammates. Naruto's clawed hand stopped mere inches from the Junin's face. The nin's eyes widened as he saw the boy stop. Naruto, you in there? He said as calmly as possible. The boy's eyes flashed blue for a split second. I'm here, sensei, it's me, I'm in control. Naruto, don't think about anything else, but as long as you're like this, let's use it. Let's get Zabuza together. Alright, the Junin instructed the boy. Got it, sensei. He grinned. What's the plan? The same combo you and Sasuke used. Pour the chakra, Naruto. The two flashed through hand seals. Fire style. Grand fireball jutsu. Wind style. Great breakthrough. The absolute hurricane of fire that burned across the bridge was enough to superheat the concrete as it traveled. Zabuza barely managed to get a counter out. Water style, water wall. He yelled. The jutsu held out against the Junin and Genin's combo for all of 5 seconds before it evaporated and blew the water away. But it was enough to keep the jutsu from instantly killing the missing nin. As his clothes burned, he screamed and jumped off the bridge into the water, where he then resurfaced and ran up the side of a bridge support to confront the Konohagakure shinobi. Zabuza, it's time to end this, Kakashi stated. He slid through hand seals, the Junin's hand was engulfed in lightning, and he sped across the bridge, hand extended toward the missing nin. Chidori. The sounds of his hand tearing and bursting through flesh echoed across the bridge. On his hand sat Haku. Hey, made for a useful tool after all. The demon of Kirigakure yelled, bringing his sword back and fully intending upon cutting through Haku to kill Kakashi. But he hesitated. Can I really do this? He thought but brought his arm down anyway. A black and red blur impacted against the side of his sword, taking it completely out of his hands. What the fuck? Sensei. Finish it. Naruto shouted, throwing the blade to the ground. Zabuza brandished a kunai, but immediately Kakashi was behind him and planted a kunai in the nin's left shoulder, rendering it useless. The nin tossed his kunai to his other hand, bringing it around to bear down on Kakashi. The Leaf Junin adjusted his grip and changed his angle, slamming his kunai into Zabuza's right armpit while simultaneously grabbing and snapping the former Kirigakure nin's forearm. Zabuza growled and launched back but was met with a voice. Wow, you ninja really do have some cool fights. A short fat man with a cane called out. Too bad I have to cut it short. Gato, what are you doing here? Zabuza growled. I figured I'd wait for you all to wear each other down and then come have my men finish all of you off. I never intended to pay you. He kicked Haku's corpse. This brat almost broke my hand, I'm glad she's dead. Zabuza said nothing, but it was someone unexpected who broke the silent tension. How? How can you stand there and let him do that to her? She loved you. She traded her life for yours and you just let him desecrate her memory? The Uchiha yelled with rage in his eyes. She's just another tool to me. Bullshit. You hesitated when you went to cleave through her to get to Kakashi. You'd sit here now and lie. The Uchiha growled. You son of a bitch, how can you Zhu? Shut up, kid. You've said enough. You're right, Haku was everything to me. Gimme a kunai, kid. Ima, kill this rat. The Uchiha held a questioning gaze at the former Kiri nin, then turned and looked at Kakashi. The Junin nodded. Hesitantly and cautiously, he approached. The ninja swordsman leaned down toward the boy and opened his mouth. The boy held out the handle and Zabuza took it in his teeth. Thanks, he said, and tore into the fray of mercenaries and bandits guarding Gato. Slipping into Gato's personal space, the redeemed nin slammed the kunai into his throat. Tearing it out, he proceeded to kill many more bandits before he fell. As the bandits moved to hit the downed man, one shouted out, "We're gonna kill the rest of you damn ninja in a second." Like hell. A child's voice echoed across the bridge. We're not gonna let you step on us anymore. Inari stood with the whole village at his back. Get out of here for good. Channeling a last little dosage of the Nine Tails chakra, Naruto stepped forward. If they don't make you leave, I will. He forced all the killing intent he could toward the bandits, and they took off running for the trees. Naruto collapsed, but his faithful sensei caught him before he hit the ground. Kakashi, will you do me a favor? I'd like to see Haku just one last time. Kakashi obliged the nin, and laid him next to the lifeless body of Haku. Thank you. As they watched the mist nin die crying. Snow began to fall on the bridge. Team 7 sat in a bedroom in Tezuna's house, watching over Naruto's sleeping form. The room had been silent as they all stared at the boy. But Sasuke had to know. Sensei, what was that power, that chakra that took control of Naruto? Kakashi stared at the black-haired boy for a minute, as if trying to find an answer. Well, the truth is, it's an S-class secret. Only Naruto can reveal it at his discretion. You said something about Naruto's mother being a Jinchuriki like he is. What does that mean? Sakura asked. Ah, so you heard that, did you? Well, I still can't say. You'll have to wait for Naruto. And even then he doesn't have to tell you. It's hard for him to talk about, so try not to push too hard. The Junin replied. Might as well just tell them now though. Naruto said as he sat up, surprising everyone in the room. It's part of the reason I have so much chakra, and heal so quickly. He sighed at his team. Kakashi cast him a sympathetic look and Naruto continued. I was born on October 10th. The same day and around the same time, as the nine-tailed fox attack. The fourth Hokage couldn't actually kill it. So he sealed it into a newborn to hold the beast at bay. I am that child, I am the container of the nine-tailed fox. Sasuke spoke first. You have the nine-tailed fox sealed inside of you? That's what I said, yes. Naruto is what we call a Jinchuriki. A lot of bad things happened on the day he was born. I can't tell you any more than that. Kakashi interdicted. Why you? Sakura finally spoke. Why not any other child? Why a newborn and why you? I don't know, Naruto said with a downcast look. For some reason, Lord 4th Hokage chose to put his trust in me to hold this massive power. I just don't know if I can live up to his expectations. PFFT, just because you've got a big fox in your gut doesn't mean you're any better than me, loser. Sasuke said. All eyes turned on him. Naruto's were comically wide. His face slowly turned to a grin and then the blonde burst into laughter. Soon the whole team joined him. As the laughing settled, Naruto spoke in a soft tone. Thank you Sasuke. He sighed, I was honestly very worried you guys would think I'm a monster. Sakura whacked Naruto on the back of the head. Of course we wouldn't think that, you idiot. She sighed lightly, at least now we know why the adults all said to stay away from you, and why they glare at you so much. Thank you Sakura. Naruto chuckled. One day they won't see me like that. One day they will see me as Uzumaki Naruto, the Hokage, and then they will all respect me. Kakashi was sitting on a couch in Tezuna's house reading his book, when Naruto came through the doorway. Oh hey there Naruto. Need something? Sensei, I always thought your chakra was familiar, but now I'm almost certain. It's you, right? Naruto, what on earth are you talking about? You're Inu, aren't you sensei? The copy nin stood up, never taking his eyes off the boy. I am indeed, but that's not something you can go running around talking about Ulrich. He was cut off quickly as the young blonde enveloped the former Anbu in a tight hug. Thank you. Kakashi was visibly stunned. Naruto? What are you thanking me for? Watching over me. I was always so alone, but I always knew you were there. I could feel your chakra. Even though you never said a word to me other than if the Hokage summoned me, you were always there watching over me and keeping me safe. So thank you sensei. Naruto responded while tightening his grip on the older man, tears burning in the corners of his eyes, but never falling. Kakashi slowly and lightly wrapped his arms around his sensei's son. He smiled down at the boy and quietly responded. You're very welcome, Naruto. Sasuke sat in front of the graves of Zabuza and Haku. He stared blankly for a while, finally eyes setting on Haku's grave. You may have been my enemy, but I think you may have taught me the greatest lesson I've learned in my entire life. So thank you for that. He glanced over to Zabuza's grave next. You were a cold bastard, but you really taught me a lot. I see the ninja world is not for the faint of heart. Sometimes you have to steel your resolve. Thank you for showing me the real darkness that comes with being a shinobi. With that said, he stood and heard footsteps behind him. Welp, I really couldn't have said it any better, ya no ya bastard. Naruto placed his hand on the Uchiha's shoulder. Sasuke had told him all about Haku, and everything Zabuza said and did. The blonde was almost as inspired by it all as he was. Kakashi-sensei is waiting for us, it's time to go ski. Right, it's time then, Sasuke said. The Jinchuriki began to walk away and before he left he took one last glance at the graves and made a pledge. I will never, ever abandon my comrades. And I will always protect those precious to me. This team is the only family I have now. I refuse to give that up. And as the thought left his mind the raven sighed and walked away. Well, looks like we'll be taking off now. The team leader said to the old bridge builder. Konoha's probably beginning to worry. Ah yes, well we very much appreciate your help. None of this would be possible without you four. Please tell the Hokage we are ready and willing to start trade agreements with Konohagakure first and foremost. Ah yes, will do, the Junin said. The people of Wave Country cheered and whistled at the team as they made their way across the bridge. Tsunami looked at her father and asked, what are we going to name the bridge? Inari immediately jumped in, the bridge of Team 7 of course. The people of Wave Country cheered. It seemed the name would stick. The door to the Hokage's office opened and in stepped the members of Team 7. Team 7 reporting mission complete sir. Kakashi said. Kakashi, give me all the details. Right now. I believe you need to elaborate on the message you sent to me before you departed Wave Country. Right away sir. He said sighing. He proceeded to recount the epic that their mission in Wave Country had become. So you're telling me, you knowingly took 3 genin on what was suddenly an B rank mission that later, after the appearance of Momochi Zabuza, would become an A rank. The Hokage was visibly annoyed with the masked Junin. Kakashi scratched his cheek. Oh well yeah, but when you put it that way. On top of that you let Naruto get pushed to the point the Nine Tails was able to gain control of his body. And then to defuse said situation you divulged another S-class secret to the boy. The Hokage pulled out his pipe, lit it, and took a pull, exhaling the smoke before sighing. If this was anyone else other than you in this team, you would be demoted and the genin would be put on probation from any missions above D rank. However, because Team 7 is our strongest and most well-known and popular genin team, I will let this pass. I expect to never hear of a situation like this again. Are we clear, Kakashi? Yes, Lord Hokage, Crystal. Good. You and your team are dismissed, but Naruto, please stay behind. The other three left and the blonde sat down in front of the Hokage. What can I do for you, Lord Third? The boy asked. Did you speak to it? The Nine Tails? No. When Kakashi-sensei mentioned mother, I was able to regain control of myself and managed to use my power boost to help Kakashi-sensei push Zabuza. Good. When Jiraiya arrives, I'll have him take a look at your seal. Lord Jiraiya? Of the Sannin? Naruto questioned. Indeed. You know I trained all three of them, of course I know. Naruto laughed. They beat it into our heads at the academy, the old Hokage chuckled in response and silence filled the room. Naruto, you and your team are going to be entered into this year's Chunin exams. We can't afford to not show your team off. Let alone not show off you and young Sasuke. The two of you are our most skilled genin, so feel free to show off. Understood, Naruto? Yes, Lord Hokage. The boy smiled at the elder. Naruto, yes sir? Never mind, it's nothing. You may go. See you later, old man Hokage. With that the boy stood and left the office. Alone with his thoughts, Hiruzen sighed. It may be too early to tell him of his father, even if he makes Chunin. I suppose I shall let Jiraiya take him soon, and leave that decision to him. He is the boy's godfather after all. The elderly Sarutobi sighed once more. He really was getting much too old for this. Alright, listen up. Kakashi called to his students. We have until the end of this month to get you three into top shape to enter the Chunin exams. You don't have to pass, nor get the promotion. However, you must give it your all. You guys are Konohagakure's strongest genin team at this point, and if you aren't yet you will be before the exams. So let's get started. The Chunin exams, already? Sakura asked. Yes, Lord Hokage believes you are ready, as do I. The Junin eyes smiled at them. Ready to get started then? The three responded together, let's do this. Over the course of next 2 weeks the Junin hammered tactical thinking, small unit tactics, first aid knowledge, and just about anything he could get them to learn that might help. He began to train Naruto in the use of the fourth Hokage's hummingbird fist. This was a taijutsu style not only made for use of extreme natural speed, which at this point Naruto had in spades for a genin, but also for use in conjunction with the flying Raijin jutsu when Minato had developed it. Of course Naruto did not have this jutsu, but Kakashi saw it fitting considering the boy's kunai substitution techniques. It had been quite easy to teach to the boy, as Naruto already made use of handstands and fast reflexes during taijutsu bouts. The fourth had made extreme use of his teleportation, body flicker, and just plain natural speed to appear inside his enemy's guard. Once there he had often made use of handstands to get a full range of movement for precision kicks. I reckon he could give Guy's student a run for his money. Was something Kakashi thought quite a bit while training the boy. The masked Junin also went on to teach the boy a couple new jutsu, including water style, liquid bullets, the user spitting balls of water from the mouth at high speed. Another had been water style, water pistol, which in turn led to Naruto also learning the twin water pistol jutsu. And finally he taught the boy wind style, gale palm. With the boy readily armed and dangerous, Kakashi was sure he'd be an absolute force of nature throughout the exams. As for his Uchiha student, he supplemented the boy's jutsu arsenal with 2 new fire-style jutsu, which he had picked up quickly due to his now activated and fully mature Sharingan. Most of their time together however was spent on Sharingan Genjutsu, which would be incredibly important to Sasuke not only for the exams, but for his entire shinobi career. As for the girl, after making her undergo hard training to increase her chakra reserves, he felt she would be capable of learning new techniques. Among those were a few genjutsu, along with new earth-style jutsus. He refined her taijutsu and medical jutsu knowledge. They also made strides in increasing her physical strength. Both of the males on his team were terrified of her when she was angry, not that they would admit it. The 3 genin were a force to be reckoned with. Kakashi was honestly going to be surprised if they didn't wipe the floor with a good chunk of the competition. All that was left to do was wait and see. Boss! Boss! A small boy with a blue scarf yelled, chasing after the blonde. Naruto could still remember meeting the arrogant idiot in the Hokage's office. But since then Naruto had taken to looking after the boy, sometimes even teaching him some things. The 6-year-old had just joined the academy, and would turn 8 2 months after Naruto turns 14 this year. Sakura was also walking with Naruto at the time. "What is it, Kono?" the blonde boy asked. "Boss, is she your girlfriend?" Sakura looked stunned, and Naruto turned to the boy and smiled. "No, she's just my teammate Kono." "Ah, that's good because she's kinda flat," Konohamaru said blankly. Sakura's face turned to rage. Had Kakashi been there, he would have been reminded of Kushina herself. Naruto looked at the boy with fear in his eyes. "Kono, run." The boy saw his mentor's face and was terrified. He took off running for the hills. Sakura took off after him. "Get back here, you little shit." Her time spent exposed to Naruto and Sasuke's foul language had made her pick up a few habits of theirs. The boy ran down an alley at top speed, taking a shortcut to a side street before running into someone. "Ayo," the boy said, falling on his bottom. "You little shit. You're gonna learn your lesson right now." A male voice rang out over him. "Kankuro, quit, you're gonna get us in trouble." A female voice called out. The Chunin exams were going to start soon. And Team 7 was about to meet their greatest adversary. Chapter 6. End. So that's it for this day. I hope you all enjoyed watching or listening to this video. Leaving a like and a comment would be greatly appreciated. Anyways, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this video. See you all later and bye.